You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 28th meeting of the Michigan City Sanitary Board. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are going to call the regular Sanitary District Board of Commissioners regular meeting Wednesday, February 28th at 4 p.m. to order. I'm going to ask for a roll call. Holt Edgar. Present. Chris Shugowski. Present. Tim Warner. Present. And Tim Smith is present. All board members are present. I'm going to ask, we have two sets of meeting minutes. The regular board meeting of Wednesday, January 24th, and the special board meeting of Friday, February 9th. So I think we need to take those individually, Jim, don't we?
You don't have to, but if somebody wants to object to one.
Okay, so I think I'm just going to do them together if there's no objection. And if there's any corrections or additions or anything like that, if there's none, then I'm going to ask for a motion to pass both the regular board and special board minutes.
So moved.
Thanks, Chris. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. The next order of business is public comment.
Yeah, good afternoon, board members and public, the city councilman and council president Don Przewinski, and I'm also the liaison to the sanitary district again for this year. So just a couple of things that I want to bring to the board's attention is that the city council adopted an ordinance, I believe it's 3485. Don't know if that's the proper number, but anyway, the gist of the ordinance was that whenever there's property damage, whether to equipment, to property on site, what have you, anything over $1,500, that a report is sent to the city controller, and then from there, that report is then sent on to the city council, so that the city council is included and knows exactly what's going on in departments. We do that with the fire department, police department, park department, every department that's under the umbrella of the city. So now we're also going to include the sanitary district under that umbrella. And the attorney, Mr. Myers, is aware of what city attorney Amber LePage is putting together. It's not yet, it has to be amended and brought before the council for approval, but that'll probably be done, I would say, within a month or so. And the other thing that I would like to see, as being a liaison and also a city taxpayer, is just like on other city vehicles, street department, park department, what have you, are the COs of the department that the vehicles represent. And looking at some of the vehicles out of the parking lot, a lot of the COs are faded. You can't tell what department it is. And some vehicles out in the parking lot aren't even properly marked or identified what department they fall under. You can take a walk out here in this parking lot and there's pickup trucks that are out here right now that have no signs on them or emblems, anything that represent what department they actually belong to. And as a council member, number one, for transparency, the public should know, that that's their vehicle out on the road. And if they see something that they don't like, how these vehicles may be operated, they know who to contact for safety purposes and for accountability of the employees that are operating those vehicles. So with those two things, welcome back, right? Well, I know that I haven't been here because we finally got everything rearranged on the council. We got our 9 council members so we could put the committees together. So I'm here, Happy New Year, and we move forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman and President Don Przewinski. And I think those are two valid points, so thank you for bringing them to our attention. And Mike,
Yes, sir.
we'd like to get those taken care of. So,
Made a note of it.
okay, great. All right. Any other public comment?
Yes, excuse my voice, the weather got me. But Connie Adams from the Refuse Department. I just need clarification on how sanitation and refuse been operated as far as the resolution you're going through tonight on the salaries and positions. I am 31 and a half year veteran with the refuse. I was the foreman. Came down with a sickness, and I was told to find an assistant. Found the assistant. When I came back, I'm no longer in that spot. And with the resolutions, it kind of, flexed with my life, So I just need some clarification on how this department been run and how the choices has been made. I know they needed a refuse inspector. I did that 15 years. 4.5 years ago, I did it for 15 years. Pretty good at it. So I guess I'm kind of forced back to that spot, but it pays less than what I was making. And I was told my salary wouldn't change, but it has.
Okay.
So I just want to bring it to the board's attention.
Okay, so in the handbook, Connie, it talks about a protocol to go through. Have you done those steps to go through yet?
I met with my superintendent, I met with my GM, I
Okay,
met with H&R,
okay, okay,
and I kind of got they couldn't find nobody for that spot.
okay,
And so I kind of was forced in. I mean, I work good in it, I work good in any position. This is a good team we got. I just want the answers. I can't even do this without not even telling me. I mean, did I do something wrong or anything? Just some accountability, because I take pride in my work.
yep. Well, I appreciate that, and we will ask Mike to get some answers on that and then report back to the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Connie. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Seeing none, the public commenting period is closed. All right, Dan? How
Good
are you?
afternoon. Fine, thank you.
So, before you start your report, Don, who, and I haven't seen this resolution, but from the standpoint of who reports to the city council when there's accidents
Or damage.
or damage, how does that usually work
The
right now?
protocol is that it goes from the department to the city controller, okay? And then from the city controller, she'll send it on to the city council.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank
And
you.
also, I'm sorry, but if I can interject, it also deals with theft, okay? And I believe it's anything over $100 in theft is also reported to the city council,
Okay,
so.
May I ask the identification of that resolution or?
3485, I think, correct?
Yeah,
So there's no number on it right now?
I'll get the problem.
Yeah, there is a existing ordinance, the ordinance is gonna be amended. You don't need to know the number of the ordinance. All you need to do is to make sure that if there's a wreck or damage to district property that's valued at $1,500 or more.
I would like to see the documents. So.
Yeah, and I think that's, I'm not gonna let this get out of order.
Yeah.
We'll take
Okay.
care of that.
Yes, sir.
And I understand you wanna see, what the definitions are on that, and so we can get that. And from what I understand, it's still you're still working on
The
it.
original
And
one
it hasn't passed.
The original one has passed. The amendment adding the
Hasn't passed.
sanitary district
Right.
has not passed.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
But the terms won't change, it just adds that.
That's what I understand. But, okay, all right, Dan, thank you.
So the summary for injury and illnesses, very good news to report for January. Refuse Department did not have any recordable injuries during the month, and we've not had a recordable since November 24. And with the Water Reclamation Department, they did not have a recordable injury in January, and they have not had a recordable since November 3rd. And so that was a very good month, and we're very proud of the activities of all the employees in each of the departments. This is a pretty detailed report I have this month. It's covers 7 pages. It's 21 different items. So I'll just ask are there any questions or any items you'd like to discuss at this time? Or I might suggest if you have questions later, just feel free to let me know, and happy to answer those.
Thanks, Dan. Any questions from any board members? I think it was really well detailed, so I really appreciate your detail on this month, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. As always. Thank you, Board.
Yeah. As always. Okay, so before we go to the financial report, we're going to do the insurance renewal and the transmittal letter and proposal. We've had this, so I don't know if there's any questions. Charlie's here if we have any further questions. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2024 insurance renewal with GIS Services.
So moved.
Second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So, Scott, you're up.
Need a budget performance report for December.
Thanks.
They're all.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So, I'll go back, but I'd like to skip to item 7I, and that's the gateway entries, which is the annual report to the State Board of Accounts, which is the biggest thing we got going right now. It has to be filed tomorrow. The 3 big funds have been entered so that the controller's office could look at them before, and we have tomorrow to review them. And that'd be the operating refuse and storm. And they all look good, much better. It took a while. There was a lot of entries the last few. So I've caught up on the cash. The cash balances changed last night a little bit. So I'll have to get those to you later, because it was only showing like $15,000 in the operating fund. I knew it wasn't right. And it took forever to find the 3 items that weren't recorded. So I found them, and we're good. And there's 3 more items that I'm still looking at. So that's why I didn't give you anything. But I think it's pretty good. It's going to be what it is. And at least we're going to be on time with the State Board of Accounts and getting Gateway in, which is good. So everything's been entered, except in the small funds, all they really have are those transfers from the operating fund into those small funds. That's about the only activity they have. So we'll have that done tonight.
And when do you project we can get a copy of those cash balances?
Well, tomorrow I have to have them to the State Board of Accounts. So I'll send what we're sending them to you tomorrow. Because we have to file this tomorrow. So it'll be, and not only that, if you want to see them, you can always go to Gateway too, but I will send them to the board. But it was like 4 o'clock today before well, not 4 o'clock, but 3 o'clock, before we got all that stuff put in. And we're on pace with the controller's office. I'm in contact with them pretty much every day. Well, 2 or 3 times a day, walking through. And I wanted to get it to them so they could see it tomorrow and review it. So it's gone to the city controller.
And you said those are you told me that those will be reviewed and at the controller's office before noon tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They have, well, I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have until the end of business tomorrow.
Okay.
But, you know, the controller's department has 80 entities. Most of them don't have much activity. We have 15. And we really have 3 that have a lot of activity. So
Okay.
we got there. I don't know how, but we got there.
Questions from,
And really, if you look at these 3 budget performance reports, that pretty much tells you what's going into Gateway. Although Gateway is on a cash basis, so you have to make some adjustments for like fixed asset purchases, stuff like that. But as you can see overall, we were pretty much right on budget for all 3 funds. So, I don't know, operating was at 97%, and we actually spent less in the refuse fund, but we had, revenue was at 98% of what was budgeted, and the expenses were 84%, because we brought down the expenses, you know, because halfway through the year, we were a little worried. But it's looking good. Refuse has done a really good job. And then stormwater, same thing. If you go to the last page, it's 92% on revenue and 84% on expenses. Because I always try, because I never know what's going to happen with the capital outlay and stuff. So I always try to make sure we have some money set aside.
Buffer.
A buffer, thank you. So, I mean, those 3 funds, we did very well. You know, and it, you know, and when I say we, operations, everybody, they did a really good job. So that's that. If you have any questions, though.
I do have a statement. Number one, do not like this 11th hour thing. This is still hot from the press. So I haven't got any time to review any of this information. This does not show any November, December, and also any.
Well, sure did.
Let me finish, please.
Okay.
So I don't see any of that. And then I've heard in the last few minutes here, kinda, sorta, hopefully, maybe, we're gonna reconcile tomorrow.
No, we have.
Let me finish. I will not approve anything that is going to be possibly reconciled tomorrow. Suppose there's an issue tomorrow. I'm not going to approve anything tonight to get something in the 11th hour tomorrow. That makes 0 sense to me.
No, you still have plenty of time, because I'm going to provide what is sent to the State Board of Accounts, and you still have plenty of time, just like the city. The city, I don't believe, has gone to the city council and asked for their approval on their budgets. Because, not their budgets, but on their State Board of Accounts. Because you still have time to restate if you have to.
This is just
Right.
a report from January. I'm sorry, this is just to January? This is
No, it's January
a
through,
full year.
Full year from January.
Okay.
yeah, that's January 1st this year.
Correct, to 12/31/23. I see that. However, we have not any information from still November, December. We've been waiting for all of that. Remember the email?
But it's included in this. If you want that, I can send it to you, so you can see each month. But hear me out, I have not all year shown a particular month at any time. I've always done year to date. So the year to date, this number has your October and November number in it. And this is the full year. This is all the activity for the year. Which, if you want to see it at the end of
We're at 3
October,
o'clock today, so what happens tomorrow morning when something is not correct? You said you guys are gonna try to go pour over this tomorrow morning?
no, it's just going to be reviewed again. This is the information we're submitting to the State Board of Accounts.
There's nothing else more to do on it, Chris.
Right.
Basically, what they want to do is do one more review before.
Well, I'm just asking for a review
Yeah.
by someone.
Right.
The controller's office.
I agree. And-
We've reviewed it
Yeah,
here,
so we're done here.
Right.
It goes over the controller's office and they're gonna review it.
and I'm gonna have the consultant we use
Yes.
review it too.
Yes.
And we've got it all entered into Gateway, which is, we're on pace with where the city's at.
And Scott, we also have all of our invoices in.
Yes,
We're all paid up to date
yes.
and
Well, yes. I mean, there's,
we're, through December, we're paid up to date.
right,
Through January, we're paid up to date.
yes.
Okay, so February isn't over yet, so you still have February.
Pretty much all those, anything we've received has been put in.
Okay.
So
So,
to clarify that all vendors have been paid up to date. There's no outstanding bills from 2023 whatsoever. Is that what you're
No.
stating?
well, I'm not stating that. I mean, I don't know. I might get something else come in, but everything we've received to date is paid.
Yeah, so we're up to date
Right.
on all of our,
If you know a vendor that hasn't been paid and they've called you, just please let us know. You know, because who knows where it went. You know, did we get it? But just let me know. I mean, because we've caught up.
yeah,
I mean, well, right there, those stacks. We've caught up to everything that was outstanding.
yeah. So
Now, well, Karen's done a great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have, yeah, so just to clarify, we don't have like the 30-day pending or 60-day or 120-day, we're all past that point.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
That you're aware of, I mean,
yeah.
like
I
you
mean,
said,
there might be
something-
2 or 3 of them out there, but nothing big. I know that for sure.
Right.
Because I look for that.
Right.
But overall, I mean, we are really current. And we're back to where I like to keep it.
Okay.
Because I'd rather be current with all our suppliers, because it's just, you know, and it really helped during this phase too, because I knew that in the past, we've always been current.
Right.
So it helped. And they worked with us on, you know, getting the invoices and all that.
Okay.
So,
So after the final review tomorrow by the controller's office, can you please send all of us?
yeah, I'll
cash
send
balances?
you, yeah, I'll show you what the report is coming out of Gateway.
Okay,
And I'll ask Damon to do that.
okay.
So, because he's gonna be here at 9 o'clock to finish it up.
Okay,
And that's plenty of time. I think, like I said, we should be done by noon at the latest. Which it was, you know, a big effort to get all this in there for all these funds. But it's done.
okay.
So, and it looks good. And it looks similar to what I gave you on these 3 funds, because these are the big ones. The other ones, you know, we transfer money into the vehicle replacement fund, equipment fund, all that comes out of operating. They really don't have much activity other than these transfers. We did use some money out of the equipment fund. I believe it was $286,000, and we have like, I don't know, we had 1.4 million in the account. So,
Okay,
but it was the new Q's camera truck that we bought.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah,
Did we have, speaking of that truck, did we have a couple extra things we had to purchase on that?
I believe they changed some of it. That'd be a question for
Yeah, they added
Josh.
hoist, they added a crane on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
That was an additional cost.
okay, because I knew Joshua had something on there that we
It was
were,
on the invoice for the vehicle, though, yes.
Yes, that's what we paid. So, but it came in higher than we were expecting.
okay.
A little bit. I mean, it was, what was it?
Put a camera and a locator, I got
Yeah.
Okay.
total cost less than 20.
Yeah.
Did we do that, or we're still outstanding on that?
You
Yeah.
haven't done it, but I'm aware.
All right, okay,
Purchase that.
I haven't seen an invoice yet on it.
okay,
So,
all right. Go ahead, Holt.
Scott, just one thing up.
huh?
First of all, thank you for the budget performance reports for the entire year.
Right.
I do keep track of them, and in his statement, Chris was in fact factual that he usually gets us 2 or 3 months at a time, not broken down by month. I do have those. But just to reiterate, something that maybe didn't focus on nearly as much is that, our revenue totals are at 93 to 98% in every department, and our expenses are controlled quite well to make up for the few percentages that we missed in revenues at 84 to 87%. So it's very, very good.
Well, the management team here
Where we
really,
thought
right.
along the way, and where our questions were as a board,
Well, no,
where our
I-
numbers were at as a board, we had some delays in getting some information, and it was very good to see this, okay? So thank you very much.
and pretty much everything's in there. There are a few things, you have to cut off the year. So we dated, we got some invoices from 2023 late in January. So we dated them this year, but I can give you that total, and it really wasn't that much. It was,
You could point those out to us as we go.
yeah, next month I'll have that correct total for you. But, you gotta cut the year off. You can't, or I can't get you anything.
Right. Let me add one thing. With, in fact, your statements directly that we are very close to being caught up with our bills and with our outflow. Is it fair to say that we will receive on a regular basis
Yes.
our cash value, our cash balances, our budget performance reports, so they can be tracked
Yes.
without additional stresses?
Trust me, I
This board.
don't wanna live through this
There's been a
again.
level of leniency that has never been offered
Right.
from this board. And I can speak for the entire board that there is an uncomfortableness that we share.
Oh, okay.
And
But as you can see,
that's very, very
as I
reassuring.
said, but anyways, it used to be by the 10th working day after month end, all
Cut
this
it
was
off,
done. Well, no, it was all done. All these reports, the cash. I mean, I reconcile the cash pretty much daily, but with year end, I'm still looking at a few items. And since we share a system with other departments, occasionally people, hit the wrong button. I caught 3 last night that were ours. So that cash balance of $229,000 for December is probably gonna go up a little bit, not a lot, but, I'm digging until we file.
You and I were talking about it, and, I think it was a big struggle because, we had a ton of invoices come in.
Right.
No one can explain where they came from, what happened, but we had a ton of invoices, whether a department was holding them or whether a company just didn't invoice us on it. I don't know, but from the fall, we had a ton from, I think, October, November, and
Well,
December,
Karen did a
September.
great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I came in here multiple times and saw stacks all over, and I asked everyone, I said, how are we tracking this stuff? What are we doing, and where is it coming from? And it's just, it was an influx for some reason.
In support of that, there was also a few of our vendors who came up to me after our last meeting, maybe the meeting before last, said, hey, sorry, we haven't, gotten our billing up to date to you.
Right.
When I made a comment that, please everyone put extra effort into the detail. And there was a few vendors that thought I meant them, and I was actually speaking of our staff.
Right.
And
I really like to keep current with the suppliers, because it really helps.
yeah,
It helps everyone. So anyways, that's
All
pretty
right.
much,
So just to clarify, we will get an email tomorrow. Please check Chris's email, because he has not gotten some emails.
yeah, I'll do a read receipt.
I want to make sure that Chris gets these cash balances tomorrow, please.
You can keep it.
Wow. I got a lawyer's pen.
Doesn't mean you can
I
sign.
don't know. It might explode or something.
Only writes crooked.
Now, does that mean that your name will not be legible?
Yes. Yeah. I'm a doctor. No, he's got another one. He's got a whole pocket full. Another $500 pen. Okay.
Okay, all right.
So anyways, so that's that. And the gateway entries I talked about. The January, I'm sorry, I had the budget performance reports, but these cash balances are what's key when you're filing gateway. And I thought it'd all be done by now. It will be tomorrow, but we're still working. But really, it's looking pretty good. I mean, well, you can see we had a pretty good year. We're head on revenue, below on expenses. I don't know.
Okay.
So that's the gateway entries. And like I said, the three big ones are in there right now. I'll look at them tonight.
Okay.
I let Mary Lynn know in the controller's office
Okay.
and asked her to look at them too. Because, I want them to, I like having another review.
Okay.
And then the correction to the salary resolution, I think they're highlighted for you. And there's really, I think there's only 4 corrections. So, any questions on it? It really hasn't. I mean, one of those lines was missing last time, and
So this is driver, loader, and training, I think it was missing last time.
yes, that was it. So, it's still at the same rate that we've talked about.
Okay.
Increase. I believe we settled on 6%. I apologize.
Yes, we did.
But in the fleet manager position, that's kind of new.
Yeah.
But it's warranted on these routes and taking care of the special pickups. So
Okay.
that's it on. I'd ask for the board's approval because those 4 are the only things that changed from what you've seen in the past.
one quick question: have we had any retirements recently?
We've had one in the accounting department.
What position is that?
That would have been the bookkeeper, or no, it would have been the
Customer account representative?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, she left.
Yeah.
Not officially, yeah.
She retired, she's just using a
Right.
vacation,
Yeah,
so we don't have to buy her out.
Right.
very good, thank you.
Yeah. And but that brings me, I'm glad you asked, thank you. At the last meeting, I talked about the fact of looking for another accountant. And that I was waiting because I knew that person was leaving to free up some cash. But I really think we need another accountant. We need one that would work with the water department on the revenue and receivables, and then another accountant to do the accounts payable. So I'll be back with a job description for you
Yeah,
at the next meeting. I know, but you know that I knew people were leaving, so we really haven't gone out and tried to recruit anybody yet. But I was trying to, wait for when we.
Retiring, right?
Yeah.
Sounds,
Well, yeah, retire.
so
Yeah.
what you and I have talked about and what we've talked about with Mike, and I just want to let the board members know this, I'd like to do a review of all the administration we have here, because we need to, I think, go back and take a look at, Chris, to your comment a few months ago or a year ago, when we were talking about, making sure that the calls weren't going into the mayor's office and some of the other things. I think we need to have an executive session and determine a review of where we're gonna go with administration, and also with Mike's help, are we deploying our staff appropriately? So, I'd like to hear from Scott, I'd like to hear from Steve if there's anything that we need in the department there, and I'd like to hear from Mike, where we're going, so we can kind of help make a decision, or maybe bring in a consultant to say, okay, do an analysis of where we need support with our staff. So that's for further discussion with the board, but that's something that I'd like to bring to you guys and say, we need to kind of do a review of staff. Any questions or comments about that at all?
That's a great idea. That's a very good idea. Yep.
So I would hold off on that job description, or you can bring it to us and have
Yeah,
it ready.
bring it. It's gonna be just like the one we currently have for the other staff accountant, pretty
Okay.
much.
All right.
So, but audit firms, when they come in, like to see that you're keeping your payables and receivables separately.
Yeah.
By separate individual, internal control. That's probably the biggest one they look for. And right now, we have one staff accountant, and and the other stuff's kind of falls on me or falls on them. So you have the same person doing the two cycles.
So you had four, you had, in the salary resolution, you actually had a bookkeeper, customer account, and I think there's another one in there too, staff accountant.
Yeah.
So you had, 4 people or 3 people.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring it up. Can I look at that for a second?
So, that's another reason why we need to kind of look at, how we're gonna allocate resources and stuff.
Right. It's technically not an intern, but we did get some help from Sanitary and Associates. They sent a guy out, which I'd love to hire the guy, but yeah. And his last day is tomorrow.
Okay.
The good thing is with consultants and stuff, it's the base pay, so you don't have all the fringes and benefits on top of it and all that. But still, it'd be better, I believe, to bring in like another accountant.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, any other questions? Are you guys good right now? All right. Pardon me?
do you have some more? Did you vote on this?
Oh, no, we haven't yet. I'm just letting them ruminate. So I will ask for a motion to approve resolution number 1465-24. It's the corrected salary resolution for year 2024 of the Sanitary District of Michigan City.
motion to approve.
Second?
I will second with an amendment that the date be changed to today's date instead of January 31st on the sign sheet, the very back.
Okay, we will make that change. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Scott.
Yep, and that's all I have. If you have any questions, you know,
Just give us that stuff tomorrow, please.
oh, well, it's got to.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there's no yes or no on that one. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Jim?
There's usually not a yes or no any other time as well,
Wow.
just so you know. Okay, thanks.
I hear you.
All right, item 8, which is the updates on the projects. Steve, please.
Yes, sir.
First hold. Hang on.
He's back.
We can deal with that later.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, I just want to do it.
Okay.
Get some clarification.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, the first project topic is the annex sewer project. There are 2 items there. One is a professional services agreement with the geotechnical engineer to drill the soil boring and the right to soil report. The fee for that PSA is $13,980. It will be somewhat divided between the sewer and water department, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, correct, I remember that. And Jim, we went over percentages on that, correct? Did you get those correct?
Well, they can fluctuate depending on where you're at, but we have some let's call them preliminary. I don't want to carve anything in stone because
Yeah, no, I
there may
understand.
be requirements
Okay.
to change down the road. But yeah, there are, in that resolution you approved and adopted had percentages.
Okay. All right. Okay,
I'd like to ask your approval.
can I get a motion to approve the professional services agreement with Advanced Geological Services?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved.
Second item is amendment number 2 to the existing professional service agreement with Austin Associates. This increases the current budget by an amount of $73,000, raising the total not to exceed fee to $216,000.
So what was the additional amendment for, Steve?
We've sort of been tolling this engineering as it's gone along,
Okay,
kind of authorizing it month by month.
okay. So now we have the amendment 1, which is 93 and 73, not to exceed 166,000, correct? Because it's subtotal.
Right.
Okay. Any questions?
Is there an explanation of the scope of that changed when that was amended or what?
Yeah,
How's it keep creeping along?
yeah, it was a 73.
It's the Exhibit A.
Okay. The explanation of it, is it more detailed?
Where the extra cost came in?
Yeah,
Like I said, it's not so much extra costs, it's that we've been authorizing this sort of incrementally as Haas builds to the job.
So, Steve, the reason I'm assuming that amendment 2 is needed is because we've either exceeded or we're coming to the threshold of the $93,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have an itemized, I think Holt is asking, an itemized kind of what was the first $93,000 for? Do we have anything like that, or?
Nothing more specific than Exhibit A here.
I mean, there would be very itemized invoices,
Yeah,
because they get paid on a T&M basis. So if you want to see what's been paid for, you can provide copies of.
We have it daily. We have it daily. We've done it every day since the inception. So if you want it refined down to the day, we can tell you what we're going to get on. And the expectation is we would probably even be back the next couple of months with amendments. The way to say it would be, it's nice to do it kind of monthly, so we can dial in, forces us to look a little bit what we need to accomplish in the next 30 days. Set up the amendment to cover what we're anticipating, that we need to get done.
well,
But if you need it by day, we can. There's a lot of months down the road here.
no,
There's more amendments coming up.
I know, but I mean, do we have an overall budget for this? So we're not getting not to exceed and we're exceeding the not to exceed? So I guess, we don't even have a total budget number here on this.
Yeah, we started with a not to exceed
50,000. So, I mean, we can't control anything if you keep coming with change orders that basically say on a month-to-month basis, here's what the additional change order is.
So if we don't do that, when we reach to the next level, then we can.
No, I understand that, but I guess I'm looking for, was there ever an overall budget on this?
Yes and no. In the MOU and in the SEH report, estimating the construction cost and engineering cost, there's a total amount for the construction cost, and the engineering cost was something on the order of $600,000.
Okay.
For everything, all the way through.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
I just,
okay, I'm
Like to
just asking the
see
questions because I wanted to.
where we're going
That's a
and,
caveat and clarity. We're not sure where the $600,000 came from. That was just written in that, and it was just adopted into the MOU off of the SEH report. We can't guarantee that it'll be 600. It could come in a little under, it might come in a little bit over. We don't know where that number came from.
so Scott, off the
That's what I
building,
was gonna ask.
off the building, there's a breakdown of where we're at, what
Yeah.
we're doing?
From Haas, yes.
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 Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a detail I might build somewhere in mine.
So, but Scott, in our budget planning, is there a budget line item for, that says the 600,000 that, we keep running the tab against?
Currently, no, but I will.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know 600. I mean, I see the individual invoices. No one ever put together numbers for the project. I haven't seen.
The city council actually wrote that into the ordinance funding the construction
600,000?
It's just a total.
for the engineering.
Now, our thought process leading up to what we call final design, everything that we've been doing now is preliminary. We're still waiting on soil borings. We can't project out the cost until we kind of know what's there. We still don't know entirely what's there. So we're still in what we call preliminary design. In fact, I met Steve out there the other day. We had to make a little adjustment to the clearing contract simply because we needed to make an adjustment, and we don't have all the information to be able to project what the final cost will be.
And one last thing, Tim.
Yeah.
Haas is very good in detailing the expenditures versus the project original estimate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do see that, and there have been a few times, not lately, but where they exceeded it, and I'd call and ask them about it. But, right now, it's
pretty early in the whole process.
We're almost always working in arrears. We're almost always beyond what we're authorized to do in order to keep the project moving. It's just the way it's working.
I understand that, but I'm looking for a budget item in ours, whether it's the 600,000 that's in there or something projected, because what are we working off
I'll
of?
look at, they're really good at putting it on their invoices.
And they always have been. That's not in question. The question is, we don't have it in front of us to just see what we just
I'll pull
did
it out
with
for you guys.
50 and what we just did with the 93, and we have almost all the time.
I really haven't seen much.
I don't think the invoice has the 600,000 on it.
If I may,
No.
The engineer should be able to provide you with engineers, that's the kind of what they're gonna cost. We get them all the time.
Against it.
You know,
I mean, that's, I don't know what else.
So I mean, I guess I'm wondering if the project is broken into phases. You know, phase one, before you get your soil borings, because that's the cost that it's gonna be. When you get the soil borings, you find out what the engineering is gonna be, because then you know what type of soil and everything else you got out there, right?
The project is in 3 phases. We're doing the clearing contract now. You approved that.
Yep, right.
Yes.
The next phase is the north, we call it phase 2, north of US 20,
Right.
down to Highway 20. And phase 3 is everything south of US 20. 20 kind of runs north and south at that spot, but it's an even number of roads south of 20.
One last thing, Jim.
Yeah.
In the future, I don't know if the board remembers, but we used to, for the bigger projects, put the invoices that we paid in your package.
Yes.
So you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's what,
I'll start doing
Yeah.
that again,
all right.
you know, because,
That would be ideal. Just
I'll do that for the future.
Okay.
So,
We're
these
hoping
bigger
to
ones.
bid phase 2, 1st of May. We're hoping to bid phase 3, June, July, late June, early July.
The construction.
Construction.
Yeah.
And as long as we're on it, we got some directive today to do a little bit of work on the cemetery property. We kind of talked about it before. It's been mentioned, but never set in stone what to do. They have cemetery has some grading on their property that they need to get done. And the administration building needs a septic is failing.
That's what you talked about that last time.
Correct. Yes, so we got the directive today through Amber from the mayor to go ahead and grade the hill and hook up the administration.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions on this professional service agreement?
Yeah, so the 216,000 is basically preliminary engineering.
To this point, yes.
Through March, Commissioner.
Questions? Tim? Any questions? Okay, well, I will ask for a motion to approve amendment number 2, professional service agreement with Haas and Associates. Can I get a motion, please?
motion approved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Yeah, so if we can please get, I'd like to start seeing the invoices on this. That would be, I think it would make the board feel better.
Well, and also I'll have Mr. Miladovich sign me, that little form that he's seen it.
Okay.
Forget what about it.
Yes.
Verification form.
Okay.
Because we really haven't been doing as many projects as we were, but we will in the future.
Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be ideal that,
Yeah.
in all instances that Jim and Mike have taken a look at things and,
Right.
okay, great, thanks.
Go ahead, Steve.
Next item is the Carwick Nature Park. And BI is the annual monitoring report for the habitat restoration by Weaver Consultants. It's lots and lots of information, but when push comes to shove, it really comes down to table 2, which is about midway through the packet here. That's the report card for where we stand with the habitat restoration. We've got 3 passing and 3 failing items. The first one is we need 80% of the trees and shrubs to survive, and we were counted that we might hit 72% at the end of the year. The next one is that we can't have any purple loose strife or common reed, and we do have some of that. And then the last item that we're not meeting grade on is more than 10% of non-native or invasive species. The 2 that are troublesome is the mugwort and the crown vetch. Alright, so the next item in the packet here is a proposal to continue the monitoring during 2024. That'll be the 5th year of the 5-year monitoring period.
Can we go back for a second?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Steve. So, does this affect the grants and some of the things that we ended up getting for this project?
This project was funded by proceeds from insurance settlements exclusively.
Okay.
Or any
I didn't know if there was
grants actually.
There's permit requirements.
Okay.
That's when he talks about, we hear about the requirements of the permit we've got in order to be able to construct this from IDNR.
Yeah, we want to achieve release from the monitoring, and then it's, we'll let it go wild, or take care of it as we choose.
Okay.
And there's planned monies there for the continued monitoring.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
The next item is a proposal from Weaver to continue the monitoring of the habitat restoration.
Okay, fine.
I might call your attention to page 6 of this item here. This proposal has 2 pieces. The task 1 is the remedial action, which we do. We'll replant some of the missing trees and shrubs to kill off the crown vetch and the mugwort, and to get rid of the purple loosestrife and the common reed. The total item on that part is $26,950. The actual monitoring part that would produce the type of report we just looked at the end of 2024 is $11,035. With this, I'd like to ask the board's approval to prepare a PSA and get Weaver on board at a minimum with tasks 2 and 3 for the monitoring, because that's something we need to do under the permit. And then as far as who takes care of the missing trees and shrubs, I think you'll see where I'm going with this when I get to the last item on this project. Where I'm going to go with this is I'm going to recommend a reduction of Woodruff's retainage from it's currently 5% down to 2%. Weaver Consultants has the fix for the vegetation, getting rid of the bad stuff, with almost $27,000. if we reduce Woodruff's retainage to 2%, that leaves $46,000 retained. So that's sort of the correction action cost plus a pretty good cushion, 30 million.
Yeah, sounds good, but you need to have a document. You know,
Right.
in the form of, release, request for payment of X out of the retainage. That's
Right.
That's the contract, just like a regular project request for payment that's signed off by the engineer, the contractor, the engineer, and you.
Right.
Might, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that would be standard industry practice. When the retainage is a lot higher than what's left, the retainage is supposed to be on a 200% of the cost of completion, final completion. So,
And then Woodruff, we should offer them an opportunity to cure, I trust.
Sure.
Before we hire Weaver to fix the bushes and trees. That would be on my list of
yeah,
things
are
to
they,
do.
I don't remember where this is in reference to the warranty type.
Yeah, it's still under warranty.
Okay, well, yeah, then you definitely want to let them.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
Because
so Woodruff gets a bite at the apple for the remedial action before we would have Weaver do that. So for sure, I really just want to get Weaver, authorize Weaver for the annual monitoring for 2024. That would be $11,035.
So Steve, you said this is the fifth year of plan, so do we then use Weaver additionally on our own after that, since the contract will be over after 5 years?
It's not the contract is over after 5 years. The permit has a 5-year monitoring period after everything is planted and is supposed to grow. We're into our 5th year.
Attached 2 and 3.
And we really want to get a passing grade this year.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right, because otherwise you get carried over to next year.
Right.
Yeah.
First of all, compliments to Weaver Consultant Groups on the detail of the report.
22, yeah.
Although it was a unique 22 pages or whatever that I reviewed, the detail is remarkable. Reminds me of when other people that we know had worked at Weaver Consultants Group. At that time, I believe it was maybe another name, but the detail was excellent. Certainly, everything that you said as far as decreasing retainage and waiting to see what we can do in that before we approve that $22,520 makes absolute sense. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I had it to ask as to us taking action of sorts. So, well done. So I don't have any other questions on this. You guys?
Do you have a question? So I guess my question would be, do we want to have a discussion? So, Steve, you need to get Weaver on board to do the monitoring, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. I would really like to.
So as far as the retainage and reducing that, we need the documentation for that. And also, we also need to ask Woodruff whether or not they're interested in doing that. So I would.
I've already spoken to Kyle about that. So.
And so what was the?
Oh, he asked me if we were just going to cut him out on it and hang on to the money. I said, no, you guys get an opportunity to cure.
Yeah. So I guess my question would be, can we take task 2 and 3 today just to get the professional agreement with Weaver, and then find out where Woodruff is going to be on the retainage and the efforts to cure.
That's precisely what I'm asking for.
All right. So let's just do that. Let's take the.
I just want to do item 2. Item 3 is the retainage, right?
Well,
no, task 2
this one first.
Yeah, task. We're going to jump over
proposal.
task 1, and we're going to do task 2 and task 3.
Oh, okay, but task 3 is a request for retainage.
Well, no, it's the
annual performance monitoring mitigation.
We're looking at pay request number 8.
No,
we're talking about just part of their proposal.
Yeah, I
Task on the proposal.
Jump ahead, Jeff.
Just the task on the proposal.
So, We sleep with all of them, Chris.
Just can't attach to it.
What's the amount?
It's
11,035.
$11,035. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the $11,035 contract with Weaver.
Task 2 and Task 3, and I'll second it.
And that would be for task 2.
You gotta prepare a PSA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then, as far as the documentation for changes to the retainage, it was my intention that what I just presented would be that documentation.
No, we have to have a pay request. It has to be signed off, just like a regular construction
Gotcha,
project.
okay.
And the engineer, which would be Weaver, would have to sign off on it as well. So they have to the engineer has to verify how much, when I say verify, state how much it's gonna cost to do the cure.
Yeah, they need to agree
And
with what I was
multiply that by
saying.
200%, and then what's left over you can release.
So Steve, could you please do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And so let's just pass on that until we get that documentation.
Okay, White Ditch Annual Monitoring Report with pencil wetland restoration again. If you want to skip to the report card, it's table 2 again. Most of the way toward the rear of the report. 2023, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first year of monitoring on this project. First of 5. If you didn't want to skip to the report card, it looks like this. It looks just like the other one. Of course, it's pretty far toward the back. 'This report card's a little better. You got 2 items that are not meeting grade. We've got some purple loose strife and some common reed out there that needs to be taken care of. And it looks like we might have a shortage of surviving bare root stock that was planted. I'll be looking for a corrective recommendation from Weaver on this because this is still essentially in the construction process. And all this vegetation stuff's under warranty. We had a very good contractor do the restoration out here. I believe they came out once last year to apply herbicide to some of the weeds and so forth. So I'll follow up with this. This is really just informational. I'm not asking for any board action on that one.
Good luck to them getting rid of the Phragmites.
Purple loose strife's not easy.
If they figure it out, they should patent it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay. Next item is the US 12 Lake Avenue Relief Sewer Project. Item I, we've sort of gone through this before. We received 2 engineering proposals. And the Fate Great Lakes proposal was considerably more attractive than the one we received from DLZ. I did write a professional service agreement for Fate Great Lakes on this. It might be of service well possibly though to skip to item III, which is this funding commitment from the Redevelopment Commission for $276,000. to assist with planning and engineering fees related to the sanitary district relief station for the above referenced sewer line. My understanding is that this funding commitment funds the engineering contract before it.
Except for the add-ins.
Right.
So the add-ins are another $114,900.
Right.
And that's only phase one of two of these of the project.
You mentioned the phase two having to do with the trail. I really.
No, phase one is the trail. Phase two is the Lake Street
Bless you.
part, the north of the pump station sewer. You recommended.
Well, the construction would be, the idea is to design both pieces of the relief sewer. If, depending on the engineering cost, maybe perhaps we just pursue construction of the first phase, which would be intercepting the Route 12 sewer and bringing it down the trail and quite possibly through our lagoons property from there to get it under the creek. But the design fee proposed by State Great Lakes covers the whole, both phases, aside from the add-ons that we may have to do. We had geotechnical.
Okay, so what do we need to do on that, Steve? Anything, or is it just?
Asking for approval for the professional services agreement for Fate Great Lakes in the amount of $276,000.
And we don't need to do the add-ins. You do.
Some of the add-ins, yes, not necessarily every one of them. I was trying to be very conservative when I was trying to compare these two proposals.
What about that? So we need to start on doing the bike trail sometime.
So railroad crossing permit, for example, Commissioner, if we don't decide to do phase two, is not needed. That's just one example. The geotechnical allowance is rather on the high side, I would say, compared to what
So Steve,
Because Scott is from there, so it's tough to.
so Steve, I think we're gonna table this to next meeting. Okay.
all right. What's essentially the last item I have on the agenda is just the 503 report for land application. And it shows that we land applied 662 dry tons in 2023. This report was sent out in February, on February 16th. The only reason I put it in this month's agenda is just it was due on February 20th. I wanted you guys to all see it in plenty of time. There is one other item I wanted to raise with you is that
Steve, just out of curiosity, and I was gonna look at this, the EPA new reduction of selenium. I know we're way below it because it's 13 parts, but I was just curious because the state of Indiana adopted the new EPA limits for selenium.
Is it a drinking water limit, sir?
I believe it is a drinking limit, but if you have ground application, it applies, you're going to groundwater, which in turn.
I
So I'm
know
just
that none
curious.
of our heavy metal concentrations, I mean, at worst, we're 1% of cumulative total that we're allowed in any field.
I was just curious what the selenium, if you knew offhand.
I
Otherwise,
don't
that's
know that
okay.
there's been any update to the land application criteria.
Okay.
I would like to just commend Steve for doing such a thorough, outstanding work on our land application program and
Oh, yeah.
submission of all the requirements.
It is in there.
Reporting.
Yeah. Commissioner Smith, you noticed the mouse maze that is the CDX submittal? Actually, what goes to the agency is all this computer stuff in the back.
Yeah.
That's where you gotta have password credentials and secondary two-factor, and then I gotta answer a question about like what high school I went to, just to get that in.
Yeah.
Do you remember that far back? I don't.
I wrote it all down. Okay. I think I was.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate the great job on
Thank
this
you.
report, too.
You're welcome. I enjoy it. I haven't had time to get this on the agenda simply because I didn't speak to the structural engineer until today. He's anticipating delivering a draft bid package next week. Okay. And he's telling me he's thinking the cost for the construction is going to be $220,000 to $250,000.
No.
Short of some kind of act of faith or something, I suppose what we'll be doing is I'll be asking for approval to send it out to bids at the next meeting.
Okay.
I did pick out a couple highlights in the staff reports.
Okay.
We didn't make it through another winter.
Well, we haven't, winter isn't over yet.
Almost. After today. After today, so I'm not dealing with it anymore.
And Puxatawny Phil, so.
The first highlight I have is the operations activity report. This is the wastewater treatment plant operation by Jordan Hines. If I could call your attention to the chief operator's final notes here. January was a little bit trying with the Jordan's being modest here. We got 3 feet of snow. And then it all melted, thankfully not all at once. But the inflows to the plant did exceed design capacity, and we did have to send some of it to the basin for temporary storage. But Jordan and Mike, Mike functions as our wastewater superintendent as well as the general manager. And Jordan, I think, does a great job supporting you in that role.
Outstanding.
Took it without a hiccup.
Very good.
We maintained,
Very good.
by doing so, did not adversely impact the microbial population, the microbes, especially the nitrifiers.
That's great.
The next highlight I had to do with the collections department report.
I've experienced that before, it's not pretty.
I have too. I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
The collections department, I could call your attention to page 2 to begin with, the last paragraph, 509 Porter Street. That's a real saga of a customer with a slow sewer, and to make matters worse, the water in the basement took out their furnace, and then we had the polar vortex. I think you were getting calls from pretty much everybody on this.
Yes, I think Councilman Prespolinski and also
the mayor,
this indirectly, but Tillman, Councilwoman Tillman also contacted me, and we were able to intervene by way of Mr. Jim Michaels, our Assistant Superintendent.
The part I really like is pretty much most of the top of page 3. Jim Michaels pulled a rabbit out of a hat here. I asked the homeowner to let me try one more thing. I explained to him that if it doesn't work, there won't be a charge, but if it does work, you don't have to pay for the contractor. The homeowner agreed. I called Ryan Miller with D&M and explained the situation. Ryan Miller agreed to have a service crew come out. I met the service crew on January 14th, and within an hour, they had the lateral open and the sewage in the basement went down. The homeowner was happy, incredibly happy. And Jim's checked back with them, and so far it's working good. What we ended up doing with this, the bill was under $400. We ended up financing it for them and adding it to their sewer bill because this person's living on a very fixed income.
Nice.
And not having sewage in the basement would make everyone happy, I think. So, I get that.
Actually, we had an anonymous,
Somebody paid for it.
yes.
No? That's cool. Wasn't aware of that.
I did want to commend Jim Michaels for above and beyond the call of duty as basically a humanist
Something taken care of.
approach due to the circumstances of the weather and the resident, and coming up with that solution that turned out worked and saved the resident also potentially a lot of money because one of the contractors that was out there had quoted some pretty salty, pretty high price. So I think that was extremely well done.
Pretty much all I have.
I think it's a great thing for the district to go out and do, especially at that time of the storm and everything else. He couldn't turn, from what I understand, he couldn't turn on his furnace because of everything.
Intermittently or whatever,
So,
yes. Truly a challenging situation.
I'd like to thank the district for doing that. Okay, thanks, Steve. And thank you for the reports, staff reports as well. Jim?
Nothing I've already talked about. The Long Beach case, they're still in the process of what they call a discovery process. So they're waiting for the town to respond to this discovery request, interrogatory and request of production. Should be done, should happen, but before the next board meeting, we should have an update on that. Other than that, there's no other litigation or anything.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
I came back up because the next item on the agenda is the docket, which I don't have, but these are the payments that we've made since, there you go, Tim.
Thank you. Oops, sorry.
Yep, there you go. Since, actually to make sure that we've approved, or you guys, oh, I'm sorry. It dates back to the day after the board meeting in December. So it covers from December through today. And the big ticket item, if you look at the very first page, is the Merrill Brothers. And they did the digester cleaning. And so you guys had approved that previously. But that's the big one. I will have the signature page. I really don't expect you to approve it right now because I'd like you to take a look at it. You know, and if you see something, give me a call if you have any questions. So, I don't know, there was talk of possibly an executive session, Tim?
Yeah.
And if there is, I would like your approval at that time.
Okay.
Oh, you can't?
Can't do it.
Oh, you can't, oh, you gotta do it publicly?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Other than the signature page, is there anything else missing off of it?
No, just the signature page, breaking it down by, fund.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other big items, just so you know, are the NIPSCO, and that's the plant bills. I think they run about 80,000, and there was 2 of them. But as you can see, the first 5 pages, this is what we've caught up on the invoices.
So I would recommend that the board vote to approve.
Okay.
These have been paid already, right? The checks have been cut?
The checks have been cut.
Okay, so to ratify these payments.
So we're not behind again.
Correct.
And this will catch us up through today.
Okay.
And once again, I would like to say Karen did a great job.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah, getting all this in. So,
What is the board's pleasure on this? Do you want to go ahead and vote on it now, which our attorney's recommending us to do? Chris, do you want to look at it? What would you like?
You are all paid.
Yeah, I mean, these are all paid, so. If there's an anomaly that you see in here,
Yeah, just
looking
call
at
me.
it, just give Scott a call.
please, because I'll call them. But I really don't. The big ones are, like I said, the Merrill Brothers, the digester cleaning, and the NIPSCO. And the NIPSCO is what it is.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve? Is this considered a docket? It says payment register.
Yeah,
Do we consider a docket? Okay. The 12/28/2023 to 2/28/24 docket, please.
Motion to approve, unless there's other discussion.
And I will second with the addition of the signature page be added.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
They can sign
Motion
the,
passes.
I'm sorry, they can sign the signature page since they approved it at the executive session.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest way for you.
I would,
You can
I
sign
would
it
just,
anytime.
I would,
Yeah.
I think you just call us. I don't know when we're gonna do the executive session.
Okay.
So I would just, you know,
Yeah, I'll send out an email and whoever wants to stop by.
no.
Just
I've
put
done
your
it
X.
too many times, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, and I,
Thank you for your house.
Yeah.
with everything going on, this was.
Thanks,
Scott.
Thanks for this, Scott.
Yeah, the big one is that Merrill Brothers.
Yeah. All right, any old business?
No.
Any old business? Any old business? Any new business?
New business, I'd like to ask Mike Milovich if he can look at the policies of the sanitary district compared to what the rest of the city policies are and gives a list of what policy differences there are, because we had the meeting of the departments at City Hall. You had mentioned there was a policy difference, and I'm not sure what it was. So if you could look
About
at that.
personnel policy?
Yeah, just get us a listing of what the differences might be, so we can look at it at our next meeting.
I think it's gonna take a little bit more.
I know,
It takes more than,
one that came to mind right at the time, I think, that I was thinking of was the screening, the drug testing policy. I think is
So
the-
let's just go through that and we'll get a list. I think, and Holt and I talked about this too, that we probably need to do some type of re-looking at the employee personnel versus what the city personnel is, because I know what you're getting at, Tim. So, you know, is ours that much different than what the city is? Do we just go ahead and adopt the city?
policy.
So, I mean, I think it's gonna take a little bit more time than just
Yes.
you coming in and making a recommendation, but, you know, maybe we wanna do Holt said that he would take Holt, thanks for your time on the airport, going where you're going these days, that you can put them side by side and look at them too.
When the flight gets canceled, or
Hopefully not.
I think one of the things, the issues in it was the pay up issue.
Yeah,
that
you're
we need to
exactly right.
discuss too. Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right, and that needs to be discussed as well. And then also that's with Connie too, we need to figure out what's with Connie on that too, and so Mike, you're gonna bring that, you're gonna look at that and then,
yes,
okay, all right.
Thanks, Richard.
Look, is it possible that, I don't know. It's a policy thing. I guess HR wouldn't really have direct knowledge of the differences in the policies. Would you, or would you? So that
They implement both of them, so
right. So that
I'm sure he doesn't have it memorized.
No,
Rachel.
I'm saying it's very possible that
I would think
we could
so.
get some assistance.
You mean you don't wanna do that?
No,
At the airport? I'm just kidding, but I think your idea is really good. I do.
I thought it sounded really good to have them do
Logically,
that.
they probably have a prior knowledge of I'm sure Rachel has,
Yeah.
many of the differences that exist over the years, because Rachel's been here doing an exceptional job for many years in many different positions, and she probably has a very good handle on making that an easier
Yes.
task for us to at least know the differences, have them listed, and then
Yeah,
We can discuss in a meeting.
or the department that
Yeah.
Rachel works
yeah.
in a lot of time. I don't know if that is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
It's fine.
put you
Dump more on
in
you.
that position, Rachel, but I just thought
That's it,
that
I can report.
you have a better opportunity than all of us do. I have the one manual, but I have to obtain the other one.
Absolutely. I can forward them both to you all electronically to you all. That way you can
Cross-reference, yeah.
cross-reference, and if you have any questions, just let me know.
So, a quick question on that, can you highlight some of the differences in there if you know
Yeah,
them?
just give us,
That would be great, we'd really appreciate that, because it would save us some time looking at the different things, so thank you. Okay,
thank you.
You're welcome.
all right, any other new business? All right, any,
Do we need to address the executive session? Do we need to bring it up, or you're just gonna call one?
I'll just call one, I mean, we'll talk about dates and stuff and then kind of go from there. So, seeing that there's no other, discussion items, I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
I will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see you guys, we'll get the date for the executive session, and then we will also see March 27th, at our regular board meeting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.